Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Optimized Ecommerce Podcast. I'm Tanner Larsson, your host for this episode. And today I am joined by yet another amazing member of the BGS crew. This is Jacob Thomson. Now, Jacob is actually kind of unique, not just because he lives in a weird place where the toilets spin backwards and he has a funny accent, but also because a few episodes ago, you heard from his dad, Brett Thomson, who is our master copywriter and did a big episode on copy. We're gonna do some more episodes, but so Jacob is his son, and Jacob definitely taught Brett everything he knows. But what's actually kind of cool is I didn't think about it, Jacob, till we got on here. But so you and your dad, then we've got Dom and his dad Zach. So Dom was on another episode, another RO, and his dad Zach is Build Grow Scale's COO. And then again, we also have Garvin and Serby, brother and sister developer team. We've got quite a bit of families mixed into
That's
BGS.
great. I didn't even know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I knew. Yeah,
and then,
awesome.
And now Irene and her brother also work for BGS. So yeah, so that's kind of crazy. We got a lot of families working in BGS now. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's definitely a special thing as well.
For sure. So anyway, today, guys, Jacob is from Australia, but we're not going to hold that against him. He is actually quite smart at what he does, which is revenue optimization. He is longtime RO for us and works in a lot of our amplified stores and really knows his stuff. And today he's going to talk about a page on your store that gets ignored a lot, or it either gets ignored or it gets overused. It never gets used correctly. And that is the homepage. And the homepage is, again, one of those pages that people don't really know what to do with. We hear a ton of stores come in saying, well, I don't optimize my homepage because I send traffic to my product page, or I have everything on my homepage because it's where everybody lands. And both of those answers are wrong. So we're going to dive into today is what to do with your homepage, how to make it rock, and how to really turn it into a moneymaker. And that's what Jacob's going to share with us. So Jacob, before we get into that, I've already made fun of you a little bit. I've gotten the obligatory Aussie jokes out of the way, but why don't you tell them a little bit about you? Obviously they know where you're from, but what you do, how you found BGS, and what you do with us.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Tanner, for the intro. Yeah, like Tanner said, I'm from Gold Coast, Australia, on the East Coast there. And basically, I've been working with BGS now for, I would say, a little over 2 years. I could be wrong, but it's been a very fast and amazing experience so far. I knew little about revenue optimization before starting with BGS, but I was familiar with e-commerce. I'd run Facebook ads for a few companies as well, and I'd been around this space for a little while before running into BGS. Basically, how I began to work with BGS was my dad linked up with Matt and Tanner and became good friends, and ended up going into partnering into BGS with Matt and Tanner. And he was sharing a little about the concept and what their goals were. And I was just so fascinated about what they do. And it was so new to me. And it was something that I've neglected because I've been running Facebook ads for so long. My mindset was that optimization of the Facebook side and really trying to dial in traffic. But that's the mistake people make, is dialing in traffic before dialing in their store, which makes the traffic easier. It makes it more affordable. Sure. Conversion rates higher, so traffic begins to it makes it cheaper all around. So that's really interested me, and it was something that was probably new to the market as well. So it is a very new concept, and it's exploding at the moment, and that's why so many people need our help. And so I began working with them. So after learning exactly what their goals were and what they do, I was fully on board, and I reached out to Matt and Tanner and said, hey, I really love what you guys do. Like, I would love to come work for you. And they gave me the opportunity. So here I am today, 2 years later, working full-time as a revenue optimization expert for some 7- and 8-figure stores, which has been an absolute blast. And I've been a part of the content creation team here at BGS as well, which has been an absolute ball. So I'm very grateful for my experience so far, and I can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to share it with everybody today too. So let's dive into the homepage, right? So yeah. Let's set the record straight, basically. I talked about some of the misnomers of the homepage and how people treat them incorrectly, but what is the actual main objectives of the homepage? What is it for?
I would say, and this is something that we speak a lot about as well, and it's to provide trust and clear navigation. They're the two, I would say, the two main goals of the homepage. There is a lot of other stuff that comes into play, and I'm looking forward to getting into that. But the two goals, if you had to single each out, it would be to provide trust and clear navigation, because it is the front door of your business essentially. So returning, even if you're sending traffic to the product page or to the collection page, users, especially first-time buyers, will still return to the homepage. It's like a large percent of your traffic will go to the homepage to learn more about your business, to know that it's not a dodgy business, or that they feel like they're going to get scammed. They will go to the homepage to learn more about your business. And that's,
it's something like 40+ % of people that land on the product page wind up, as part of their due diligence, going back to the homepage at least once, right?
Yeah, first-time buyers, they typically rely solely on the homepage for their first impression. So it could be even within that first few seconds of your homepage loading, as whether they've got that notion in their mind of if they're going to trust your business or not. And that's why it is so important to be able to execute what we're about to talk about so perfectly in order to get that first impression right.
So, I mean, and clear navigation, obviously, that's a huge one, because again, the job of the homepage is to introduce, provide trust, and then get them off the homepage into the shopping areas of the site, right? So what are some of the important elements that we should be including on our homepage to take care of those two main factors? How are we going to tie that all together?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say one of the most important elements, we can start right on the top. That's the first thing that comes to my mind would be like the banner on top. I'm not talking about your value proposition banner or anything like that, but that little stream banner at the top,
like
above
the top header section, right? Like above the header, right. Even.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of people will miss out on that, and that's a really important step as well. And if they think, oh, I don't have anything right now to put there, but I want to share with you just even like a little test that we ran, including some text in there. And it was actually, I'll just label it the banner test for now, right? And we actually addressed three main, I'd say, concerns or even they've essentially value propositions in that top banner. And it was actually it was a USA owned company, and we know how important that is for a lot of people as well. So we even just say USA owned with a little American American flag symbol there. So it created that they're shopping with an American owned brand, which is important. And we actually addressed some shipping objections, and that was free shipping, or it could be fast shipping, or express shipping, or anything like that, right? And the third one was actually a guarantee. So it was actually a 60-day guarantee. And how do you fit all that in a mobile banner, right? You've only got that little bit of space, but they're two words each, and they're broken up really cleanly. And that was three really big objections that we received from a post-purchase survey that people had problems with, that we were able to address above the fold on the top end of their site. So it was the first thing they got to see. And the results from that, from including those value propositions on that top bit banner on the header there, was a 13% conversion rate lift for that particular site. So
wow, yeah.
It was absolutely huge. And it was definitely a surprise to us. And we were really, really glad that we found that bit of gold there.
Yeah, no, that's a big piece, guys. Now, for those of you who are listening to this, maybe not seeing how Jacob's hands are moving, he's literally talking about the very, very top part above the logo, even on the homepage. And those three value propositions are basically divided up into thirds of that little banner section. So 3 boxes, each with those 2 words in it, and like massive lift conversion.
Yeah, that was sticky across every page as well. So it wasn't just the homepage. So it was whatever page they went on, that like your navigation stays there, that banner stayed there as well across each site. So it was reinforcing those concerns that people had, the large majority of the people had when shopping with this particular site. So
clearly, especially if it had a 13% lift. So
yeah, exactly. And some I'll go into some other important elements.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah. So the next one would be a prominent search, and this is extremely important for a business that has a lot of products or SKUs or anything like that they want their customers to find the products easily, especially for returning traffic, that they don't have to go through collections or all these subcategories to find what they're looking for. They have that prominent search that they're able to type in exactly what they're looking for, and ensuring that your search is optimized as well, which is another thing we speak about. And there's great apps that are able to do that and to really dial in and optimize your search so they can find exactly what they're looking for. So that's another massive thing, which will be above the fold.
So when it says prominent search, do you mean just like a big magnifying glass, or do you actually mean something else?
It's got to be, let's just say mobile first. It's the full width of your mobile. You'll have your, let's just use the mobile design, right? We've got the hamburger menu on the left. Let's say this is a typical e-commerce mobile design. Would be a hamburger on your left. You've got your logo in the middle, your card icon on the right, and then right below that, we would actually have a full bar that's search. And within that search bar, we're going to give the user the most search terms that we know from GA. When you dial in your GA, you'll get your most search terms, or a search app will be able to provide that information as well. And we know what they're searching for the most. So we can actually provide that. It's like placeholder text, right? Mm-hmm. So it gives them and encourages them to search exactly what they're looking for. And that goes the full width of the mobile design. And that's above the fold and giving them a really good shot at finding what they're looking for right away, or encouraging them to look for something.
For sure.
And we know the effects of that as well. Like typically it's something like we've found 3 to 5 times people that use the search bar are 3 to 5 times more likely to convert than someone that isn't able to use the search bar.
And 2 to 3 times more valuable than any other visitor. Yeah. So when you track visitors and you say visitors that convert through normal means are worth X, yeah. Visitors who convert through search are worth X times 3.
Yeah. Super important. The next one that would be the most crucial, if not like this is definitely top 3, would be providing a clear value proposition. And this could be in the form of a banner, which it's more likely for us. We like to formulate this in a banner because it takes up a good space. And this banner could include your competitive advantage. So what you do better than your competition, because you got to give the user a reason to shop. Why should they shop with you? Why shouldn't they go to your other competition and shop there? It might be if you've got better prices and better products, then you need to be able to communicate that above the fold in a banner. And we like to call that our value proposition banner. The only time we'll swap things out in there is if we're running promos or anything like that we could, if it's like a fire collection that we need to, we want most of our traffic to head to because it's a particular time of year that, that's going to be very popular, then we can replace that. But stating that an all year round banner would be a value proposition banner that states your competitive advantage, and that could with a clear call to action as well. So stating all that, but then giving the user the ability to click on something that will take them either to a product, your main product, or your collection product, or your collection page. So it's giving them the reasons to shop with you, and then giving them an opportunity to shop with you as well. So they don't actually have to go, you've hyped them all up now. You're the best in the business. You're giving them a reason, giving them an opportunity to go shop with you. You don't want them to have to go find a button to find those products or find that collection. So ensuring that there's a call to action button within that value proposition banner is super important.
And now, real quick on that, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're up.
But with that, so this is something that people, if you're listening to this, this isn't just like throw together any old banner. Banners is above the fold. It's some of the most valuable real estate you have. And it's not only has to convey the value propositions, but it also has that trust element in it. And it also has to convey what your site is to the customer like that. Because when they land on that site, if it doesn't match with the ad that they clicked on or however they get there, if there's any disconnect or they're unsure of what your site does or why they're there, they're going to bounce before they even look. So your banner has to do all of that. But on that point, Jake, what I actually wanted to say before I ran it off on that tangent was talk a little bit about like the importance of a static banner versus like the sliding banners and what people like to do with all that. Actually, we do change our banners, but we don't do animation, right?
Yep. Exactly right. I'm glad you brought that up. So what we've actually found is we've tested this time and time again, and you can do your own research if you don't want to take it from us, but you will find I guarantee 9 times out of 10 that having sliding banners, or this goes for other elements on the page as well. If you're thinking to yourself, okay, what could I put there? Well, I've got 3 things I want to put there, so let me put it on a sliding banner where I can show all 3 opportunities, like all 3 collections or value props or anything like that. Just dial in one and keep it there. The reason why it was found is sliding banners or things that users don't have control over on their own accord. So if they're sliding in their face and they were in the middle of reading, that causes friction and it's distracting and it's throwing off the I would say the feel of the site. So you don't want to have sliding things going anywhere because it's your eyes. You want to have that visual hierarchy. You want the user to be in control with in every step of the way. They don't want things moving when they haven't asked for it to move. The only thing that you would ever consider you could add possibly, even if you needed to do this, you would add giving them an arrow at the bottom or something like that to enable them to swap to another slide if that's need be. But do not have any sort of automatic or animated slides or anything like that, because if you want your users to be just fixated on a slide or a really cool animation, or do you want them to be taking in why you're the best at what you do and giving them an opportunity to shop with you? That's what we've found, and we've tested this time and time again, that sliding banners or things out of the user's control is just it just causes friction and will have a less click-through rate for sure.
And that's on any page of the site, really, right? We don't use animations anywhere. The only place you might find an animation is if it's an animated GIF that shows like a product doing something, but very few and far between. Okay, so I spun you out of your process here, but let's get back to it. So optimizing the homepage, what's going to make it work? We've talked about the top level above the header, the 3A things. We talked about the prominent search. We talked about that UVP banner and the importance of having that. Where do we go from here?
Okay, so this is another thing you can test, or if you don't know, you should run some post-purchase surveys. Or the reason why I keep saying post-purchase is because sometimes if you're running surveys on site, the information that you receive won't be as valuable because you'll get some, you could get disgruntled customers or just people that are visiting and they don't really want to answer questions. They won't take them so seriously. But if you're asking a question to someone who's just purchased from you, they trust you and they're more likely to give you valuable feedback as opposed to someone that's just going to write something silly like, well, the common one is, oh, price is too high. And they weren't serious shoppers anyway. But the next thing you could that you could do after the value proposition to add extra trust, and this could be utilized further down, and we'll talk about this later as well on the actual structure, but it could be some trust badges or trust seals. So 3 to 4 trust badges or trust seals as to reinforcing why. And this is something that we talk about that we utilized. I told you about the banner test, but this could be utilized under the value proposition banner, and it could be something USA owned or anything like that, or why your customers would like to shop from you in small, simple icon readability, like easy readability icons that would reinforce your statement, which is something that you could really utilize or capitalize on. And that's just straight after the value proposition banner, or you could place that under the next section we're going to talk about, and that's our popular items, right? Or our popular collections or anything like that. So on mobile, I'm going to stay with mobile because we are aware that more than, on average, more than 70% of your visitors, if you're an e-commerce business right now, that they're going to be more than 70% is going to be on mobile. We typically see over 90% on our e-commerce sites that are coming from mobile. So that's why I'm going to focus on the optimization side of mobile first, because you sort of want to get that design down before you move on to desktop, right? So the popular items, and we know this and we've tested this through as well, is giving those returning visitors, especially because a large majority of returning visitors will actually land on your homepage first because they'll come back and want to shop with you. So they'll go back there and look for the popular items or anything like that. This is something that we provide along the top, and we've tested it, and I'll talk about a test that we actually ran. It was a POD site, right? And they were in...
Hang on, real quick. POD, for those of you who may not know, is print on demand. It's usually like apparel or textile type items that you can print whatever you want on and then have it shipped straight to the customer when it's made.
Yeah. So those sites can typically have hundreds of products ranging from tens and tens of collections. So you'd think to yourself, like, how would you provide these popular items? You'll know what your best sellers are, and you can position them from left to right as or top to bottom, your best sellers, and providing maybe top 6 products in your best sellers collection on the homepage. This gives it easy, and we go back to this. It gives clear navigation from our first question. It's providing the user clear navigation to get to the product that they want to see, and more than likely, if they're the 6 best sellers, they're going to be the ones they're looking for, right? And we ran a test of this particular collection that was doing really, really well, and it was I can't share the actual collection because it'd be giving away some confidentiality there, and I don't want to upset anyone. But it was a particular collection that was doing really, really well. So we wanted to bring that collection out and place it, and it was, I believe it's situated just below the fold because we had our value proposition and some trust seals there. So it was the first collection that they see, and it was a large majority of people shopping this collection. So we brought that collection out and put it on the homepage, clear as day, and it provided straight away first implementation, and we ended up iterating it later as well, but straight away 5% conversion rate lift, a 4% AOV lift, and a 10% revenue per user lift straight away from just giving the users exactly what they want. They don't need to look for it because it's there. And that's a very small change, just adding a collection on the homepage. But you'll lose people when they have to make more steps. And if you're just giving them what they want at the right time, it's going to increase that impulse purchase, and they don't need to actually go looking for it, and have their kids may run in and distract them when they're looking for it or anything like that. But it's giving them right there, clear navigation to shop what they want to shop. And that's something that we added on our homepage that blew away that for that store right there. And that would lead on to your next section that should be very important, is providing those categories. So on the homepage, we have that menu, that hamburger menu. And in that hamburger menu, you'll have your collections, right? But if they're shopping, if they're scrolling down your homepage, that should always be there on the left. But you can actually provide bigger category boxes, and we like to call them boxes because we typically make them in big squares, and it can have an image of that actual collection. So it's a visual image, because we know how visual elements will be a lot more effective than, say, just text elements. So having the text elements in the menu is is still great for clear navigation, but providing those categories on the homepage with the visual side of it, with images with the text underneath that they can click on it, is much more appealing as well. So we do include, our top categories on the homepage as well. And that's
a good point. You said top categories. Explain what you mean by just top categories.
Yeah, that's a great one, because you could have so many categories. What you'd want to do is just jump into your GA or whatever data gathering service you are using, and figure out, I'd say, your top 6 categories. And you want to position them from left to, let's say you're running 2x2s on mobile, right? You want to have your top left being your most popular collection, and then obviously the one on the right would be your second most, and you just position them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as your top 6 collections. And that's typically what's going to be getting the most clicks. So you don't want to throw any random 6 in there, because you want to give them what the users are shopping, and so providing the most popular ones.
And making sure we don't overwhelm them with every category under the sun if you have a lot, right?
100%. That goes into the simple versus complex design, and not the cognitive overload, and just providing everything instead of just giving the user what they're looking for.
Totally. So with that, we've covered a ton of elements that should be on the page. I know you're going to get into structure a little bit later, but before we get there, I know there are, but are there any things that people should be aware of doing? Like what we just said right there, don't put too many collections on the homepage, right? Don't put them all. What are some other things that people need to be aware of, principles of do's and don'ts for their homepage?
Yeah, great question. I would say things to be aware of would be, when you're designing your homepage, would be the visual hierarchy of your homepage. So knowing that the biggest elements will be getting the most clicks, typically, you want to structure that so that you're giving your value proposition banner is probably the biggest thing on your homepage when they load it up, right? It's going to take up the most real estate. So that's why we talked about the value of that. And any sort of headlines at the top, if you're getting like, if they work out your visual hierarchy and what you want your users to do. If you want your users to buy a product, you got to sort of structure your homepage so you're feeding them, you're giving them the information they need to make that purchase, right? So do not overload your customers with everything, like you said, putting absolutely anything and everything on the homepage. There's you got to give them what they want at the right time. And that's exactly what we focused on, is the visual hierarchy of the homepage.
Mm-hmm.
And even something as small as a headline can make a big difference. I know we ran a test on one of our amplified stores, and it was testing one of the headlines just under the value proposition banner. And it already had a headline, but we revised it. And we know that, you know, copywriting and product imagery and all those things can account for the biggest wins in split testing and everything like that. But we were able to test a headline that provided a 10% conversion rate because it was so high up on the page, and the visual hierarchy, it just led the users exactly what they wanted to do. So we're able to get a 10% conversion rate lift from just something as small as a testing a headline. Mm-hmm. So I'd say things to be aware of would be visual hierarchy and the simplicity of your homepage. So simple versus busy, mm-hmm. not overwhelming your customers and causing a paradox of choice. It's like, mm-hmm. you know, Tanner, you've used this before. It's like when you walk into a Baskin and Robbins or whatever you guys, I think it's Baskin and Robbins in Australia. I'm not sure what you guys.
Here. We have Baskin Robbins too. We probably have a better Baskin Robbins because
I'm sure you got more flavors, right?
More flavors. Yeah. We have 32 flavors because you only get 31, right?
Well, that feeds into how you're a disadvantage because the paradox of choice. You know, when you walk into, say, McDonald's, right? You got mm-hmm. 3 flavors. You got vanilla, you got chocolate, and you got strawberry or caramel. So you got a couple flavors. If you walk into a Baskin and Robbins, and in America, you've got 32 flavors. How long or how hard the decision is to shop what you want to pick? Like, do you feel like apple crumble ice cream or strawberry or all these like crazy flavors, or if you were just presented with 3 of the 4, you know, ones that like the OG flavors or the original flavors, the most common flavors that someone would choose, it's really easy to make a decision based on those 3 to 4 as opposed to 32 options. So do not give your customers too much to think about, and that will reduce the cognitive load and the strain on the eyes, on your eyes as well. So your users may be going down there like, oh, they're just exhausted looking at a homepage because you just so much information. They don't even want to click on anything anymore because they're just overwhelmed. So just make it really easy for the user to understand what your mission is or what you're trying to sell or what you're trying to achieve, and just be really clear on that, because we've found that, you know, clarity is definitely king, and simple works better than busy. And I know simple may not always be the most beautiful, but it's the most effective, I would say, for sure.
Yep. And you know, that's something to be said for, you know, something as simple as white space, right? With the clutter aspect, allowing people's eyes time to relax in between elements, which you don't really think of when you're doing it, but it's actually important because eye strain and visual complexity, like Ling's Cars, our favorite site, right? It's just like, so like in your face that your eyes get hurt just opening them when the site's in front of you. So that's a big thing. So what else? What else we got to do pitfall wise?
Well, I would love to quickly share with you even a test that we did on a homepage, like a simple versus busy, and this was in the pet niche, right? And this was just, the original was just like we said, it was trying to give away too much too soon. It was just putting everything on the homepage and thinking that, you know, if we give the user everything, then they'll find what they need. But they're so overwhelmed of stuff that they don't need, they don't end up shopping at all. So we actually simplified the homepage and gave it a lot more white space and just a lot more easier on the eyes. So if they're shopping and they're laying in bed, just shopping on their phone, they don't have to think too much. It's very clear and easy to understand. We tested those 2 designs of the homepage, like a simple versus busy, and there was an 8% conversion rate difference on the simple against the busy. So if that, you know, doesn't tell you something, that you look at your homepage today or tonight and you think, you know, is there too much? Am I trying to, you know, advertise absolutely everything, or if I'm just trying to make it really easy on my users to give them the navigation that they need to decipher what they want? And that's exactly right. And I really like what you said with separating the elements as well. And another important aspect to that is that you don't want to create, with your design elements on your homepage, you don't want to create any like false bottoms or anything like that. You want to just give it clear distinct, make it very distinct that you're separating one element to another, and don't try and jam it all in. And that's another aspect of design aspect that you should be aware of when designing your homepage.
So explain what a false bottom is, because I know a lot of people probably aren't even aware that they're using false bottoms and how that applies.
Yeah, that's true. So a false bottom, I would say, let's say majority of the homepage would be, a white, and stuff's on white background, and then you have one element that's just, it's on like it could be a picture, or it could be just a particular element on the homepage that has a black background. It's just got like a straight line, black finish to a white.
From one side to the other side, right?
One color to another color, and it's just straight. That in your brain can signify like, okay, I'm at the end of that page, and will reduce the actual scroll depth of the user if they just see one color to another and blank, because they think, okay, I'm constantly getting to the end of this content. You want to be able to use a design. You can achieve certain things. So you can even like slant the end of that element on like a line to the right, or break it up in little bits so that it's not taking up the full width of the screen, so they don't believe that that's the actual end of your page. And that's what a false bottom is. So if you have one color to another, one solid color to another solid color that goes across the whole site, it can signify that that's the end of the content, and you don't want to be doing that, because obviously reducing your scroll depth
reduces conversions. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So any other things to be aware of you want to go through before we move on?
I think the main things would be the visual hierarchy, and then the simplifying, so reducing the cognitive load, and then making sure the design elements and making sure they're not no false bottoms or anything like that.
Okay. So now we've gone through all the elements you want, some winning elements, talk about some tests, and then also what to avoid. Now let's dive into how do I structure my homepage? So we want to basically tell somebody who's listening to this, like give them an action plan of this is how you need to structure your homepage, so they can go compare it to their homepage when they're done listening. Yep.
Perfect. All righty. It's funny you actually said that. As soon as you said that, as soon as we moved on to the next question, I remembered something that you should be aware of.
Let's hit it real quick.
And it's an important one, because this will reduce the bounce rate on your homepage as well. So we know how important it is to get people on our email list, right? So we have your email capture, but one thing that we see time and time again is people that will spam email captures. They could have like something that pops up right away. So when I click on a site, the last thing I want to see is something pop up in my face right away, where I have to try and either navigate it, close it, and then continue on to where I want it to be. So if you have email captures on your site, we love to we use things such as Wheelio, or even SMS pop-ups like Carts Guru, and all these other great features that are very profitable for us. You want to ensure that these are not distracting or I would say obstructing the user's ability to navigate your site. So something that would be an obstruction or a friction point would be actually having those things on page load. And typically we have a delayed pop-up where it could even be typically it's something that we do on exit intent. So and this is the way the program figures it out, if the customer is about to scroll off and close that web page or anything like that, we can actually give them a pop-up and try and capture their email, because we know how valuable an email can be, and we can have them on our Klaviyo lists and all those different great programs that we can retarget them later on. But do not spam or sort of bombard your user with pop-ups or captures or anything like that. Like some sites we see like 3 pop-ups before you can even get to a click. Like it's crazy. True. They're trying to get you on their email list, their SMS list, their messenger list, right before
push notifications.
Before you even know what they're trying to sell you. And it's extremely frustrating, and you're already angered your visitor before they've even tried to shop with you. So make sure that things are on exit intent if you're going to do those things, and you don't need more than one. I would say just keep it to one. Find out what your most profitable sort of retargeting method is, whether it's email, SMS, and just push that one and optimize that one. And you can always get their mobile later on through checkout or anything like that if your site's done a great job to sell the product. So sorry,
that wasn't important. No, that's a good one. That's one we should not have ignored. So I'm glad you caught it. So okay, we got that one. Now let's move into page structure.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm going to go on the mobile design. Obviously, like, 70 to 90% of our users are going to be on mobile. So we want to make sure that we're designing that first. So I'm going to, a couple of these can be swapped around, but this is going to be our typical structure of the homepage that we use for our amplified partners. And the only times that these will be sort of swapped up is if we tested some things to be higher than others and they work that way. But this is something that you should test for your own site as well. But this is going to be a great little sort of example that you can think of in your head and relay back to and say, okay, this is how I should structure it. So we've got on our mobile, we've got our header banner that you could include your value propositions up there, or anything that you're running a promo or something like that, anything up on that top banner, right? And then you're going to have your logo and your mobile menu there with your cart, and ensuring that those are actually labeled with menu and cart underneath, because, I know it's easy for us to assume that everyone knows what the hamburger menu is, but some people that may be shopping, haven't done much online shopping before, don't know what the 3 or 4 lines are, or what the little cart, the shopping bag option is. So just labeling them so they know exactly what they are. It's providing clarity. And then you'll have your, you can have your banner, like the one we spoke about, the big value proposition banner, which is super important. Obviously, that's going to take up most of your above the fold real estate. And if you'd like, below those ones, you could have your trust badges, your seals, like 3 to 4, or that could be replaced with your most popular items collection, that one. But we're talking about that, putting that, a lot of users were shopping that one collection. So we put that front and center to give them easy access to actually go back into that collection and shop those popular products. Underneath that would be your top, top 4, top 6 collections that they were that your most popular collections that they are in the mobile menu there, and bring them out onto the homepage. And then right under that collection could be a testimony, like your testimonials, or even a little bit about your story. We love a concept that we've been implementing lately is actually it's like a message from the CEO, or we don't like to say CEO of a business, obviously, like that, because we're trying to, the small business method works.
Personalize it.
Yeah, personalizing it. People shop from people. So we like to say it could be a message from the owner, or a little bit about their mission or anything like that, that sort of evokes some emotion as to why they should shop from you as well. And just knowing that they're buying from real people is super important. And then under those details, this could be in the footer, or it could be above the footer, is giving the user contact details, especially. And one of the biggest things we've tested lately as well, or in the past, is mobile phone numbers. People would love, like, the amount of trust that goes in when you actually add a mobile phone, so they know that they can pick up and call someone if they have any issues or if they have any questions, is massive. Everyone knows that. Or it's, you think, like, if you're trying to get customer service from someone, or if you've got like a phone bill overdue, or you want anything like that, and you know that you have to email them or something like that, and you think, oh, I could be waiting days to get this back. But we always look for the phone numbers, because we want quick action. And if your site has a phone number, right, and this could be it's very cheap to implement this on your site, so it's a no-brainer to actually do it. But to get a phone number and put it on your site, so it gives that extra trust, so your users can pick up the phone and call you if need be. And this works especially well. So I do highly recommend including that in other areas of your site, even further up. We've had another test. Instead of the value propositions in the banner, we just put the phone number there, because it was an older demographic for this particular client, and we wanted the older demographic to know that they could pick up the phone and call us if they had any issues. And we had a huge convert or add to cart increase, just because they knew that they could call the phone if they had any issues at all. And then on ensuring, and this is something that gets missed as well, would be your footer links. Just make sure that the information's there. People want to know that, they want to see their guarantee or their shipping and returns statements or anything like that, that you're providing the user with those helpful links. Because if they're not there, it's automatically taking that trust away that, it could be a scam site or anything like that. So providing all that information there. And then the last one, you could throw some social links in there, but I would say not make them too prominent, because you obviously want your visitors to stay on your site and shop with you, as opposed to actually going away to your Facebook or your Instagram. So I know I spurted out a lot of information there, but that's to get through it all, I had to. And that's I would say the most important information that you need to provide on your homepage.
So one other thing that just popped in my head that we didn't really talk much about was top level navigation. So why don't you this isn't just related to the homepage, but it starts there. So why don't you just talk a little bit about our philosophy on top level navigation?
Yeah. So mainly for desktop, because our top level navigation will be behind the menu link or the menu button on mobile. But on desktop, when you load up a site, you'll have your logo and you'll have, your top level navigation there. And from left to right, that would include your most popular collections. So it would have, and another important thing is I see like people with 3 links, and it could be a shop link, a contact link, and an about link. That means the customer has to go into each of these links or go into the shop link to find the collection that they wanted and then go to the product page. It's giving the user more steps to find what they're looking for. If you give your popular collections right away on the homepage, they know exactly what they're coming for. They have the collections right there on the top level above the fold. And then you can include an all products link in there as well. So if they're not really sure what they're looking for, they can go to an all products link, which will take them to the collection page, and then they can sort what they're looking for there. But yeah, that top level navigation is crucial for desktop, and ensuring that they're the most clicked and used collections on that top level navigation there, and including something like an about us or anything like that if that's really important to your site. If your site, I would say, is not heavily mission focused or anything like that, then something like an about us page may not be that important on the top level navigation, because you won't have too much emotional invoking information to share on those sort of pages. But yeah, ensuring that there could even be a contact us button on there if it's something like that. And these are things, just ensuring that your collections, your most popular collections, are on that top level navigation.
So what about things like drop downs or, mega menu type stuff?
Yeah. So the optimization side of those homepage elements would be for desktop. There's been a lot of tests involving actually showing, if you've got the room, depending on how many collections, little thumbnail images on desktops next to the collections to sort of like that visual element of what they want to shop with. That's so that could be like a intermediary category page almost on the drop down, and utilizing those drop downs. So I like to have, say when you're scrolling around a desktop and you hover over something and it automatically drops down, that can be a bit of a distraction if you're just mousing over things. So I typically like to have like click drop down menus, so they really want to expand that collection, and they can click on it, and instead of it all being over hover, because it can be quite distracting when you're trying to navigate a site. But definitely those intermediary category pages work really well on the homepage for drop downs, and obviously sorting those drop downs from most shopped or most like highest collections to the lowest. So you want to, if your most popular collections are saying hats, shirts, making sure they're in order from top to bottom.
No, absolutely. And I'm glad you went through that, because I was thinking, we know that's going to come up. People are going to be like, oh, I have this massive navigation of all these links that don't actually matter. And so we really want to make sure we do that. But bro, this was good. This was really good stuff. Really appreciate it. I know everybody's going to get a lot out of this. Guys, we're going to have Jacob on again. We had to reschedule this one with him because last time we had it scheduled, it was actually 3 a.m. And for some reason, he didn't really want to get up at 3 a.m. to do a podcast. I don't know why, but we're going to schedule these later in the day for him so that he can do some more episodes of this, because he's got a lot more to share. But right now, guys, what I need you to do is, if you're on iTunes or Stitcher or whatever, wherever you get your podcast, make sure you click the subscribe button right there, and also leave us a review. And then if you're over on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember, guys, this is a video podcast. So a lot of times we're sharing things on the screen that you may want to actually visually see. Otherwise, you may just want to look and see how handsome Jacob is. Either way, you're going to want to hop over onto the YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed to that. I highly recommend you subscribe to both the audio version on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast, and then also the video. And to get the show notes or links to either the iTunes or the video podcast or whatever, just go to buildgrowscale.com/podcast, and it's all right there. And with that, guys, we will see you in the next episode. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day. See you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.